Hello everyone, this is CeliaAdermas and I'm a Yuki main player in Black Survival. Though you see I'm using the Japanese version, I will be speaking in English for the entire video, so please forgive me for my bad English. I'm making this video just to entertain myself, to make a record for myself, given the fact that this game has given me so many memories and fun over the past 3 years, I feel like I should say a proper farewell to it. Yes, this game is closing its servers on the 8th of December. People have been saying that this game is dying, but when the time really comes, I am more upset than I expected. There will never be something exactly the same as this game anymore. There will never be Black Survival. There will never be the thing that I like for the past 3 years. So, according to Steam, I've played this game for over 1,900 hours, but the true number should be smaller, as very often I take breaks between games and I open the game and just leave it there. I'm a Dragon 1 player in the Singapore server. I was also Dragon 1. Let me see. Yeah, I'm also Dragon 1 and last season. I think I was Dragon 4 in season 9. But don't take the winning rate here so seriously, because I don't play much. If I played more, I would have had a much lower winning rate. You see, Yuki is not a very strong character. So what should I start with? How I started to play this game? My first encounter with this game happened a few years ago. I saw a random streamer playing this game. At the time, the character profiles were made of papers, so you know how old the version is. At that time, it seems to me that the game was easy, which is not the case actually, but anyway, the game was attractive. But I understood nothing in the game except the fact that the illustration was pretty. Then I searched the game on the internet. However, we didn't have much information about the game in a few years ago, not to mention a detailed introduction or even a guide. So I gave up on digging. Then later I saw this game again in another stream in fall 2019, when we had the character on the left side of the main lobby screen. And then I watched a few games and then I thought I should give it another try. So I started my first BS game on Steam. I have to say here that the guide of this game is nothing. Like, it's meaningless to have that guide. Yes, I play as Hyonu. Is he Hyonu? Yes. So I played as Hyonu in the introduction of this game, and I know I have to craft stuff, but it's only a very small part of the game. I had so many problems when I actually played Black Survival. Well, I'm a Yuki main player from the very beginning. I paid for gems just to buy Yuki once I finish the guide. I just love him so much that I don't really have the incentive and motivation to play other characters in ranked games, but I do play other characters like my 11 in team matches, and I once played Johan and my in normal games. Well, back to the topic. Actually, Yuki is not the type of character I usually like. I prefer psychopaths like Jackie and guys with long hair like Daniel and Camilo. For girls, I like cute and obedient girls, and I also admire cool girls like Adeliana. But when it comes to using a character for a game and choosing a weapon, I prefer knives and blades, so I first search in blades. And Yuki's skills seemed strong to me then. His passive skill was more powerful than what we have now. It is 80% now. If I remember correctly, his passive triggered when HP is higher than I think it was 70% and above, and his combat skill were also better than what we have now. Then well, for sure Yuki has a pretty face, a good weapon, and good skills. I can't see any character who is better than him at that time, so it was the start of my Yuki main journey. As mentioned before, the guy is nothing, so I had so much trouble when I played a Blade character. I just don't understand what matters in the game, so I kept dying. After that, little by little, I figured out the rules and started to find my own build. My build at that time was so stupid. My build at the time was well, I don't know the English term of these items, so well, I have this, and then I have these or this one. No. When I first played BS, this hadn't existed yet. We only have this one, and then this one, and this one. So I usually started from 寺、そして病院へ、いやいや、もうちょっと後のことだった。So I first started from here, and then where I went, and then I went to Slamu and to here, and finally get back to here. So you can see the whole thing is slow and stupid. Therefore, very often I spent a minute or two to find all the items I needed in one area. It was so difficult for me just to finish my build. Also, as I didn't understand the game, I didn't even understand how ranking worked as well. I started to play this game in September 2019. That should be the end of season 7 or 6. I was a wolf at the time, so I didn't get the seasonal skin. The first seasonal skin I have is Yuki's skin. I'm so blessed as a Yuki main player to get this seasonal skin as my first seasonal skin. And then yeah, rankings. I just didn't understand how things worked, so I was so confused when I was put back in the cage again. I was even more confused when I had a green frame with me and when I saw golden frames of others. As I played more, I understood more and I thought I should get better in Black Survival, but I just couldn't. Then I started to search for guides for a blade and I started to watch streams. I watched Mel Kaiser's video on YouTube and then his stream on Twitch. I also watched Saikyo no Koro on Bilibili and other random streamers on other websites. Actually, I learned to use this. I learned to use this aptitude, is how it called, aptitude from Meow's videos. Before using this, I used to use this, which is extremely silly. I mean, if you are strong enough, you can fight against other players for better development, and the skill does not guarantee kills. On the other hand, if you are at disadvantage, you will not bother fighting anymore. Unlike this one, this is much better. Although the majority like accelerate, I just can't get used to it. Besides, to me it is more useful, like you can check if there is any enemy in the same area. You can buy time before you can eat your food, and you can protect yourself in an area where there is more than one enemy. Also, if you're confident enough, you can use it this way. Like you don't eat and keep getting damages until your HP is low. I mean, like around, you will die after one or two hits, two hits maybe. Then use it here. Your enemy might use his or her skill to secure a kill. However, his skill damage then gets reduced and wasted. Then you eat and get full HP in the most ideal situation. I like to use Yuki's skills here. Although my enemy already used his skill, the extra damage done by Yuki's passive is good. And of course, it's a very risky way to play, and I usually don't play like this when I'm facing Daniel, Lusalio, or that purple hair girl. My boss. Her name was Heiji. So after learning for a long time, I managed to get Dragon 4 and Yuki's seasonal skin. Apart from ranked games, I play team matches with my dear friend as well. It is hard to persuade others to play this game, like because the game is, well, we have to admit that Black Survival has its own problem, and it has many problems. So it was so difficult to persuade others to play this game, and I only succeeded once. Still, we had so much fun in team matches. We used to play until 1 or 2 at night. Though, well, that was a very great time for me. By the way, I always make a screenshot whenever I win, just like to record my journey in Black Survival. And what's more, then I played less as I got busier at school. and I stopped playing Black Survival completely once it launched the fast mode. It was a significant moment where BS lost most of its players. I think I should save this later. I did play after it returned to its old version, but still I played less, only once or twice a week, I guess. Now I'm having my second degree and I'm even busier with my study and my other hobbies. So this is it. It's a situation that everyone have, just like that. Still, I do love this game. As well, why I love it. Although BS has its own disadvantages, has a lot of disadvantages, I do appreciate a few things when I first met this game. The first thing is the game itself. I'm not fond of PvP games, but BS attracts me well, in a very unexpectedly strange way. Of course, it feels good when I win, realizing I did improve, but satisfaction is also a problem I want to mention later. The major point about the game I like is that you don't need to be extremely skillful to win. I mean, you have to memorize the crafting recipes, have a very good root, and have good reaction time. These are skills you need in Black Survival. On the other hand, other games like PUBG require more skills like aiming, hiding yourself, and things like that. BS emphasize on more on the strategy you have. It's something about thinking and planning. Not only you need to be familiar with the map and the resources in each area for an efficient route, but also you need to be flexible during the game. This keeps you thinking, which is exciting to me. Even when you use the same route every time as you play, the always changing game situation forces you to make different choices every time. Well, I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Therefore, Black Survival is easier and more interesting for me than other games. The second thing I like is the characters and their stories. If you haven't read all the stories of all characters, I recommend doing so. You can just Google Black Survival characters story and you'll see the stories organized in a good manner by virtuous people. Appreciate their effort. And do read the research journals if you have time. So, from the background story, I haven't really read through all the emails and articles, files. I know it's about research about something like immortality. I'm neutral about scientific stuff, so not much I can talk about, but I hope they could have made something like Aglaia episodes that tell us the story of researchers themselves. As for stories of characters, I really like them because they are how can I put it? They are simply a mess. Everyone is a mess. They have their own problems, tragedies, and struggles. My story is good, and then Celia, Shoichi, and who else? And Adeliana's story is also good. Those stories are fine and inspiring in different ways. They moved my heart, so they are good. So I like them. It would it would cost me a day to talk about every single character, so I won't. But I do have a few characters I want to talk about. First, of course, Yuki. Yuki was trained to be the best, to be perfect, flawless. People could only describe him using this word, flawless. His legend seems noble but doubtful as well, as after all, he is only a living being, bounded by the rules of the world, and the rule says nothing in the world can be omnipotent. Like nothing in this world can do everything they want. So his perfect, so-called perfect, is supposed to be a compliment, but in fact it became a curse to Yuki that he couldn't open himself to anyone other than Haru. He was forced to do something he could never do. You can, so like he could only be himself, and he could be forgiven for his failure of being perfect in front of Haru. You can imagine they were really good friends, or like more than more than friends. Well, you can ignore my Josie theory, but anyway, the curse tortured Yuki as much as people appreciate how perfect he was. It prevented Yuki from living as a normal kid. You can understand his curse in two ways. One, Yuki should have noticed Haru's depression, but Yuki failed to notice, or he noticed it, but failed to save Haru from depression. Such failure in saving his friend became a flaw, a scar in his life. Yuki might still pretend to be perfect in front of people, but the scar would keep torturing him, blaming him for his own mistake. 2. Without Haru, his tree hole, Yuki could do nothing but to hide his true self, to let his dark side grow, becoming a beast that would break the perfect cage someday and destroy everything Yuki had built up. The main problem here is actually no one blamed Yuki for Haru's death. It is Yuki himself who created that curse. Such self-struggle and mental health issue is just delicious. Mine has a similar case that I like very much as well, and just read those stories. And then who else? Shoichi. The second one is Shoichi. You see, most of the characters are coming for themselves, like Jackie. No, not you. Jackie and Danielle. They are on Lumia only because they can satisfy their antisocial wants there, which is delicious. And From many characters, they are on Lumia because they want something from Aglaya to fulfill their desires, like Cicela, Alex, JP, Lottie, etc. Only Shoichi came to Lumia for the benefit of others, but not himself. You can argue that it is his daughter he wants to cure, but Shoichi actually he actually gains satisfaction from curing his own daughter. Still, I would say his daughter is the primary beneficiary, so he is here for the sake of others. Shoichi's story might be an normal, ordinary one, like a guy helping his family, but also a great, well-written one. Why do we remember some stories? It's because it leaves a trace in your heart, either by curing it or by harming it. The former one is a touching story or a funny story, while the later one is a tragedy. Shoichi's story is surely a tragedy where everything good in his life was ruined. Even himself was corrupted as a normal man. His life could never be as good as before, even when his daughter's heart disease was cured. The more I think about this, the deeper I feel about the whole thing. So the whole story is touching and is sad enough for people to remember it. Adeliano has a similar case. Unlike Shoichi, she cannot be saved forever. Like, she is already broken. If you say Shoichi's daughter's life is the only salvation of Shoichi, then Adeliano's is already lost. Adeliana could never find her only cure. She could only wait until the moment she fully destroyed herself. Such despair and insanity is also delicious. I really like her story. There is only darkness in her story. And then the last thing I want to mention is art. Although the quality is not stable and the overall quality has been dropping, I like most of the illustration in the game. What I'm going to talk about next is merely my own comments, so you can disagree with me, and please don't be mad at me. First of all, before showing the whole collection, first of all, just appreciate how cute Yuki is. Like, he's good. Look at him. He's cool, he's cute, and he is everything. I don't like how detailed this skin is, but it gives me a different feeling of Yuki that is a little bit inconsistent to me. I don't know how to describe it. Like, when you compare this, the feeling of this and the feeling of this is kind of inconsistent, but you can say it's because of the background story of this skin. But so I'm not complaining. And then this skin is so good. I think I had used this skin for quite a long time before I have Ghost Hunter and Onsen Ryoku. This one I don't really appreciate this one because I don't like the jacket. The jacket is somehow too thick to me, but it's Yuki, right? So it's good. and then as for other characters, let me see. Skin collection. I like this one. Quite a powerful illustration, and it shows the insanity of Jackie. And then, oh, I really like this one. And then the Ghost Hunter. Yeah, this one. It's a shame that I don't get this one. And let me see. The design of this is quite good actually, but I'm not fond of Barbara herself. This is good. This one is good as well. And then she's Angel, right? I do like those skins related to past or future of a character like Cicela. Where's she? Yeah, this one. This one is good. Like you can see some light in this chaos. You know, Cicela has been tortured by her illness, and it is good, and it is a joy to see her standing here without any pain from her body. And then where's 11? 11, this one. This one is also good, though I don't really like the hairstyle of the skin, but the same, like it's like a kind of medicine that can cheer you up a little bit after knowing what kind of difficult situation they were in when they were in this experiment. So, and then who else? Actually, Shoichi's illustration and his skin are good on average. I don't really see a skin that I don't like for the case of Shoichi. I mean, this one is good, this one is good, this one, and then this. Yeah, like you can imagine how happy Shoichi was when he could like live a normal life with his wife. And then you can see the contrast between his happy early life and the despair of losing his wife. That strong contrast is delicious. And then this one, actually I do like Camilo's face, but I don't really appreciate his skin like this one, this one, this one, and this one. These four skin, I can't really appreciate them, but I do appreciate Camilo's character design itself. And Adele, this one is good, and like this and this and this are good as well. Adoliana, most of Adoliana's skin are good as well. Like this is the only skin I want to criticize. Like I don't think the whole design matches her well. Oh, I do like what is that? This one. I like this one very much. Like when you compare this with Eva, this one or this one, you can see the difference, like the details of the skin and the way how the feelings or how the emotions are communicated through the details. Like you can see the sweat, and you can see this outfit, which is more complicated than Eva's. See, I like this one very much. And then like my skin are cute in general, and then look. He's good, right? And this one is good. Like although it is designed in this way, still you can see the difference between her skin, that kind of that sexy feeling is totally different from Eva's. Like I don't know how to describe this, but surely I like Laula's skin more than Eva's. I mean, skin of Eva is too oily to me. If we put it in this way, like when you eat like a steak, you want it to be juicy, you want it to have good flavor, but that kind of flavor can't go too far. And Eva is that kind of steak that goes too far and be too oily for my taste. And who else? Johan is good. Like although he's a new character, I do like this skin and this one. And no comments for others. So I think that's the end of my appreciation. As for the problem of illustration, I do want to mention it, but it will be mentioned later when I talk about the problems of Black Survival. And what else? Game mode, characters, art, and well, nothing more. And I want to talk about the problem of Black Survival and the corresponding solutions. Like, the problems are obvious if you play the game, and it's useless to talk about the solution now. Still, these are things I've been thinking, so I want to appreciate myself who spent nights thinking about the whole mess by recording them down in this video. Again, these are merely my own opinion and these are not perfect theories. The game is shutting down its service in December. Black Survival, well, I mean business in general runs like this. Stage 1, the company, which is Black Survival here, offers something of value, which is game and related experience in this case to customers, which are players. Also, Black Survival uses its offerings to attract new players. Stage 2, enjoying the game and the experience provided, players then pay back to Black Survival for the satisfaction gained. Stage 3, Black Survival then can use such income to keep offering more content. This is the rough business model. Black Survival is making money by selling virtual currency, which is something of value, as I just mentioned, including gems, and then items like this experiment memories, and then tournament tickets, coins, and etc. Players pay for these virtual currency for mainly 3 items. The first one is skin. The second one is special content like Agalaya and tournament. Further, characters. Note here that although we don't really need to pay for playing the game only, the game itself is a tool to attract players. Thus, to attract them to pay for the 3 items mentioned before for better experience. Back to the topic. The reason behind the game's end is the lack of capital and resources, namely money, to maintain its normal business operation. Why didn't it have enough money? The problem lies in both Stage 1 and Stage 2, preventing Stage 3 from happening. The game does not have enough players, and players do not pay for the game. Why? I hate doing this. I know I feel like I'm back to the old days, doing presentation and reports. Well, for the first reason, BS does not have enough players, and Black Survival has been losing its old players while failing to attract new players. Starting from all players are leaving for many reasons. Like for me, I left the game as I don't have much time as before, and also as the game's fast making mode. Black Survival can do nothing about the first reason, but it can do something for the second one. Bad game experience is the major reason why people are leaving. The main reason of this can be 1. Notorious fast mode. 2. Satisfaction versus frustration. The 3rd one, lack of communication between Black Survival and players. I didn't play the fast mode, but I did watch some streams at that time, and I can't really be positive about it. The point of strategy and planning is gone in that mode, and players just needed to fight and then get items and then fight. The whole experience is totally different. I guess most of the players felt in the same way. That was a significant moment where Black Survival received a lot of criticism, which later forced it to change its mind. Even so, returning to the old version did not bring all of its players back. What's more, some new players who were attracted by the new mode left. Black Survival suddenly lost a bunch of players for nothing, which is silly. It would not have ended this quickly if it hadn't launched that mode and then simply gone back to the very beginning. And then, about satisfaction and frustration. What was that called? Anyway, I've already forgotten what it's called, but in psychology there is a theory saying that the amount of satisfaction gained by gaining $10 cannot compensate for the amount of sorrow gained by losing $10. The main idea here is people always exaggerate losses while diminishing gains. Now, put this theory into the game. We have 10 players in the game, and there is only one winner. So in theory, 90% of losing and 10% of winning. Using the psychology theory, a winning game cannot compensate for a losing game, let alone losing 9 games and winning a single game. Not to mention the frustration you get when you fail to find an item you need first after searching for like 1 or 2 minutes. When you get double or even triple hitted. When you realized that someone killed my client without making a single noise. You know how that feels once you play this game. It is very normal to encounter problems like this. On the other hand, what kind of satisfaction we can get after winning the game? The feeling of winning only. When you are unhappy for most of the time when you play BS, then why do you bother playing it? This is why people stop playing it gradually. And for me, I do get annoyed by problem like getting double hitted, and I just stop playing it for the whole day or even for the whole week. The last one is rather general, like the fast mode is a product of lack of communication. Adjustment of items, location, and character skin is also not communicated beforehand as well. I mean communicated with players beforehand as well. The most obvious and most famous example should be the time when they first launched Ekion. You should know what I'm talking about if you really experienced that time. It was a nightmare. I mean nightmare to non-Ekion players. I think you can still search for that screenshot where there are 9 Ekions and only 1 Heijin. That is obviously an imbalance between characters, and this should have been prevented if Black Survival had discussed the character with players or had players testing him before launching. Another example is when they added the 2 more special bullets, which have higher armor penetration in armor supply. I can't really recall how is that called and when did they launch that special armor supply, but at that time people just play Aya and other gun characters as they are incredibly strong with that aptitude. There is just too much to talk about in the point of lack of communication. Yeah, that's too much. I mean, very often you can see people complaining about the arrangements made in every update. Like some of those updates are just stupid. Like before, I remember we can find what, fertilizer. Yeah, before we can find fertilizer in more location, which make this item, which make this easier to make. But then it is more difficult to make because lack of fertilizer and boxes. And for this one as well, it was easier to make when you just need a knife for this item. But then it once was more difficult, I think. Before you need, which one? I think in the old time you need this one in order to make that pirate flag, and now they take the middle and use this sharpened knife. But still, I think it's kind of silly because to me it's already difficult to make this one, so it should be more like, it should be less demanding, that they should have make it done using only a normal knife. And yeah, that there is simply too much to talk about this point. So moving on to new players, the guide in the beginning of the game is useless. You know nothing about other characters, you know nothing about other recipe other than 1 or 2 recipe introduced in the guide, and you don't know what kind of benefit you can get after killing wild animals. As a new player, you keep dying and dying again and again, which I experienced. Also, given the fact that the map resources, locations, and the recipe is kind of complex, that new players need to spend a lot of time memorizing or familiarizing themselves with the content. The whole process of this is time consuming and is discouraging. Because of this, it is difficult to keep every single new player interested in this game. So with all those problems I mentioned, the game is problematic. And then as for the second point I mentioned, players do not pay for the game. The game content is not attractive enough to persuade players to pay, and players believe that the value of things they got is smaller than the value of money they paid. Starting from virtual currency, you don't have to pay for coins if you play more. Then you don't need to pay for tournament tickets because now you can get it if you keep logging in onto the game. And actually you can get tickets. Sometimes you can get tickets from these daily requests. And then also, if you don't play tournament every day, then you don't really need them that much. Similar case for tickets for PvE. You can just of course you can buy these items if you really need them, but that is not really necessary. Therefore, most likely you want to pay for experiment memory and gems. Then you can buy skins, gems, spare points, etc. using experiment memory. The reward is guaranteed, I would say, and to me is also tempting, as the amount of reward is kind of large, including those skins and then music, and the supply boxes is just tempting. And of course, there are people who do not buy experiment memories, but my point here is that the way how Aglaya episode works seems fine to me. As for gems, you can use it for characters. One-off purchases, guaranteed reward, no problem with that. And skins, you can buy some skins directly, like this one. And also is one-off purchase and no problem at all. The real problem is using gems for skin gacha. Here, I want to mention the problem of illustration. There are mainly two problems in the quality of art and the art style. I've heard people saying that the average quality of illustration has been dropping, which I agree with. Although there were good skins over the last few updates, there are also skins that are not that satisfying. I'm not talking only about the technique or how sexy that skin is. I'm talking about the details and to what extent that skin fits the character. Taking Yuki's this one as an example. Well, like the vibes, the feeling here actually does not match Yuki that much, I would say. Of course, you can argue that it is because the background story is different, and I have no problem with that. But then now, when we look at the details, like we don't have much decoration on it, not much decoration about his outfit when we compare the skin to this one or this one. And also when we look at Eva, you can see this is kind of simple, although she's cute and the whole thing is beautiful, but when you look closer you can't really see her hand. Her hand is covered by her cloth, and which her cloth is also kind of simple when you compare her dress between this one or this is not good, or this one. So you can see the dress in this skin is rather simple, and it is intended to hide some of her body parts so that the illustrator don't need to spend much time on those body parts. Like hands is one of the most complicated part of human body that usually you need more time to draw it than other parts of the body. So you can see the detail is not that much. And who else? ISO. Well, I'm not saying the details or anything, but it just don't match my taste. And yeah, except Eva's skin, I don't really have an example which comes to my mind at this moment, but I'm sure you will have skins that you don't like or you think is not suitable for a certain character, and overall skins latest stage of the game is not as good as skins in the early stage. Ah, yeah, I remember it. Like this one. Well, she's pretty, right? You look at the whole design is pretty, but the problem here is it is not, I mean, giving the same feeling to players. Like, yeah, like, I mean, the feeling is different. And also, I don't know if you can see my mouse. You see here? Because of the black belt and the chain here, you might see her waist as unbelievably thin, where actually the line should be somewhere here. So it might seem a little bit strange when I first see the skin, but well. Jenny's skin. I think Jenny's is simply not my cup of tea, so no comments. Well, yeah, I can't really think of other bad or under average skin right now. Well, next point. Compared with the quality of art style is rather minor problem, I should say. I'm not judging an art style saying it is good or bad. They are all good styles and I like them. However, some of those styles just don't fit in the game. Like this one. Style is not that suitable, I should say. Should I say in this way? And then not this one. This one. The style is kind of different from the style of the game. And then Jenny's, where's Jenny? Jenny. This one is also different. And then Daniel. This one. I mean, I do like the skin because of that dangerous feeling and the details, but the style of it doesn't really match the game, I would say. And who? And yeah, and this one as well. So, like, because of these two issues, sometimes skins simply are not worth the gems, so players don't pay for the gacha. It's easy to understand. When the skins are worth money, we have to like consider more. The situation is much simpler if it is a one-off purchase, like this skin The whole thing is simple. You just buy it if you like it, and you don't buy it if you don't like it. And here I want to move on to the next point, where players believe that what they get in return is not worth the money they pay. Now, well, from now on, I might make horrible, terrible mistakes in my reasoning, so please tell me in the comments if you think it would be better to reason in another way. Before that, I need to drink some water. When there is a market, there are also demand and supply. As the price decreases, customers want more of this kind of goods, so quantity demanded increases. As for supply, when the price goes up, then the company wants to produce more, so quantity supplied increases. The demand curve and the supply curve will intersect at a certain point, which determines the equilibrium price and quantity transacted. I will put a diagram here later when I added the video. Now, have a look. Oh, well, diagram is not here. But when we consider the price of one-off skin and the price of gacha skins, the most expensive skin is Happy Rosario, while the cheapest skin is this one. However, as these two are too extreme, we then take the most expensive price as 1960, and then the cheapest price as 980 gems. Then the average price of a one-off skin is 1,470 gems. Then skins in gacha skins it costs you 200 gems for one gacha and 2,000 gems for 11 gachas. The probability of getting a skin without specifying which skin you want is 6.7%. So think in a very naive and simple way. You can get a skin after at least 15 gachas, which costs you 2,800 gems, while the highest price is infinity, so we just take the price of getting a skin from gacha as 2,800 gems, and then we will have another diagram according to these two prices. I will explain later why there is no supply curve. Now, how can we determine which method brings more profit to blacksurvival? We then consider elasticity. Elasticity means to what extent a certain party reacts to a change in price. For example, if the price increases by 10% and the quantity demanded decreased by 10%, then the elasticity of demand is 1. The more elastic the demand is, the bigger reaction demand has towards the change in price. Now, we are not certain about the actual elasticity, but I guess it's quite elastic as game character skin is somehow luxury goods. Then BS will earn more if it set its price of skins lower, so it would be more beneficial to sell skin in the form of one-off purchases. However, this is not the end of the story. What I'm showing here is only a very rough guess, as we miss two essential factors: the nature of the goods and the true probability of getting a skin. First, skins are digital, which means it can be sent to unlimited players without extra cost or with negligible cost. That the supply curve should be different from normal goods. Then I guess, is only my guess, I guess the supply curve should be super elastic, that it should be horizontal, or it should be close to horizontal. It is easy to understand when you consider the case of one-off purchase of skins. The price is fixed at 980 gems at 1,960. No, is this 60? 1,960 gems at 2,940 gems. Don't get the skin when you pay less. You pay and get the skin even when you're willing to pay that price. And when you are willing to pay more, BS still receives only the fixed amount of money, which is, gems. Therefore, the supply curve determines the price, so we don't really need to draw it just like the last illustration. Then we go back to the same conclusion. It is better to sell skins using one-off purchases. Now, this is the conclusion we have for now. Next, we consider another factor. Well, you can argue that Black Survival wants to charge people who are willing to pay a higher price, and to charge people who are not willing to pay much a lower price. To do so, Black Survival sells its skin through gacha. If you are willing to spend 200 gems only, let it be. If you are willing to spend 20,000 gems, then let it be. It's true that it's the best to charge the higher price that an individual can pay for a good. However, it's gacha. It's probability we're talking about. And in BS, items or skin that you already have are not taken from the pool, so you can get repeated items. You can spend 20,000 gems on gacha and then get nothing you want. Return is not guaranteed nor predicted by calculation, as every gacha is independent from the previous gacha results. Such uncertainty discourages players from paying much for gacha. Even though a player A can pay up to 200,000, let's say 200,000 gems, A doubts if he would get the skin he wants after spending all 200,000 gems, so he simply gives up. This is quite extreme. Two more common ways we can have is: 1. Players set a budget for gacha. They stop when they use up their budget. 2. Players pay a lot only for pools that they are interested in. Then we can predict that the profit of selling skin of less popular characters should be less. I don't want to say this, but you can see popular characters get more skin. Look at Eva and Zahiru. And then look at Bianca and Rosario. And then look at Jenny, like this. And look at Mai, that much. And Gisela. Look. As Black Survival needs more players to pay more for skins of their favorite characters, they do things in this way. However, the problem here are the profit of doing things in this way is unstable and is highly dependent on the quality of skins, which has been dropping. Therefore, the whole thing is complicated. The last point, a minor one, in Black Survival, you can't pay to win, as it is against the design of the game. Although something similar happened when DNA was first launched. If I remember it correctly, as you get high level in a certain type of DNA, you get a buff in attack and armor, if I remember it correctly. So now the solutions. As for how to keep players, well, getting double hitted and failing to get an item are special characteristic of this game. You are just being unlucky enough to encounter all these problems. Nothing can be done about this. As for game modes, actually Black Survival can keep both game modes and even add a new mode. Fast mode, 20 minutes mode with starting weapon, and a long version. Long version is about 25 minutes with longer round 1 restriction and round 2 restriction. Players play without starting weapon. There can be different ranking boards for different game modes, or the reward can be different, like you earn more bell points and RP in a long version game. If there are not enough players, then add AIs correspondingly. This can keep both new players and old players. When new players get familiar with the game, they can then challenge themselves by playing other game modes. So, the recipe can be improved. I appreciate the newly added recipe, especially for egg with bread. These new recipes make the game more flexible, where the game is supposed to be flexible. It is so stupid that you can't just throw a glass cup or a glass bottle onto the ground in order to get pieces of glass. And I can't believe that we just can't deep fry every kind of fish. So more could have been done about this. Now, satisfaction and frustration. Black Survival could have brought more satisfaction to players by adding special items to make players happy even when they are not winning. Special item, I mean things that can unlock special contents. Well, I don't really have a well-established idea here, but like you would find this special item during the game and it doesn't occupy any space in your item bar. After the game, this special item goes to your inventory, and then you can use it to unlock some content, similar to Aglaya and DNA. The only two differences are you don't have to pay for it, and it's randomly generated in the game. As for that special content, like actually, characters' research journals can be unlocked in this way, or BS can have researchers' diaries, which are about daily lives of researchers like Naja and Thomas. And then the guide. Game could have added more guides on blade, bow, stab, fur, etc. On top of that, they could have added a platform allowing communication between players, as players are researchers in the game, right? So there can be a researcher's blackboard or researcher's drive, where other researchers can post their so-called research reports. Research reports mention frequently observed words of a certain character or any problems encountered by other researchers. Using these reports, players can help each other as a researcher in the game. As for attracting new players, I don't know much about marketing, so I can't really say anything about it. Communication between blacksurvival and players. I know they did have a team, like they had a team like a year before or half a year ago, that they can listen to comments from a certain team of player, but that should have been done much earlier. So skins. Normal skins can be sold normally to secure a stable income, while special skin or skins of high quality can be put into gacha pool. There are also some minor things I want to talk about, however, these involve the chicken and egg problem, so I'm not very sure about it. First, blacksurvival should have kept its current content updated. Tournament rewards, these haven't been updated for a very long time, and PvE as well, and Aglaya episodes, those are actually good and profitable. Especially for Aglaya Pass. It's a shame that they couldn't keep it running, and then the quality of art can be improved. The style can be limited to only 1 or 2 styles only, and then the story, maybe more story about researchers and characters, and what else? I've heard that some descriptions of skills and character can be misleading and fake in some translated version. I didn't dig into it, so I can't say much about it. And nothing more. I guess this is all what I want to say, and thank you for listening until this moment, and thank you for everything. I will be making another video for my skin collection and Aglaya episode, also a video to record the final moments of BS on 8th of December, and that's all. Well, this is the end of this video, and this is the end of the journey between BS and me. I love this game, and I hate to see it end in December, but this is what we have to accept. Nothing can last forever, and nothing can be exactly the same as other thing. Even when there is another game with similar game mode, the characters, the art, the experience and the memories will never be the same. There will never be another Black Survival. So, thank you again, and goodbye.